There has been one major sticking point in this battle between Democrats and Republicans, that being healthcare subsidies. Let's talk about that and more. Tommy Aiello from the National Taxpayers Union up late with me tonight here on the Final Five to talk about that and more. First of all, Tommy, appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so there always is something when you have these showdowns to the very last minute. Democrats want something, Republicans want something. I think we all want to keep the government open in some way, shape, or form. But this time, Republicans have done a decent job in terms of messaging, saying, "Hey, this is on the backs of the Democrats here."
Look, Republicans did their job in the House of Representatives 2 weeks ago. They passed a short-term continuing resolution just to fund the government for another 7 weeks to buy time for negotiators to find a long-term funding deal. Unfortunately, that's not good enough for the Democrats, who are now willing to shut down the government in very, very shortly. So no one wants to see a government shutdown. No one wins in a government shutdown.
Let's talk about those tax credits that are at play here. This is stemming from the days of the Affordable Care Act, and this would be certain subsidies that people, Democrats say, rely upon to pay for health care. So the way that they framed it is if there's not these concessions made by the part of the Republicans who are in the majority, people would be thrown off their health care.
Yeah, look, Democrats are being completely unreasonable here. They want to extend temporary COVID-era Obamacare subsidies, right? Every Republican pretty much campaigned against Obamacare. They campaigned against these COVID-era policies. And unfortunately, what we're talking about here is the best of both worlds. So what these subsidies do is they subsidize people to get their health care from the Obamacare exchanges. It's extremely costly, $40 billion a year for these programs, and they really generally only help people with higher incomes. People making up to $500,000 a year are taking advantage of these. Obamacare is meant for low-income people, but unfortunately, the Democrats have moved the goalposts.
I know that there's been talk for years and years about repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act, something that President Trump wanted to do in his first term. He had promised, and as you know, time and time again, he was going to have a plan in 2 weeks, and there never was really a plan. There was the push to repeal it. John McCain, that infamous thumbs down moment there. I mean, look, grand scheme of things, Republicans have control of the House and Senate. And if Obamacare has been so bad, why has there been no effort in moving ahead with that and trying to find a solution where you wouldn't have to worry about these tax credits and these things that would hold things up?
Yeah, we just have to turn back the tape to 2022. Democrats allowed these COVID-era tax credits to expire at the end of this year. So the way they had it in laws, they were okay with letting these expire. They didn't do it on a permanent basis. And unfortunately, I think what the Democrats want to do is use this as a political issue against Republicans, and that's exactly what's happening here. And we need to be honest, right? These are plussed up subsidies from Obamacare. If they go away, the full subsidy isn't going to go away. It's just the plus up for high income earners. So that's who we're talking about here. And the Democrats have said premiums are going to skyrocket if this program goes away. I think we just need to be honest. The premiums are going to go up anyway. Premiums go up every year. It's just an unfortunate reality of the healthcare industry that needs substantial reform, mostly because of Obamacare. And we need to be honest. These subsidies, they don't make healthcare any cheaper. Healthcare goes up every single year, and that's going to be the case whether we extend these subsidies or not.
Okay, so the shutdown happens. We're closed for a couple of days, a week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know if we get to 35 days like we saw the last time around, which was the longest shutdown. I mean, what should the priority one be once the government's functioning again here? If it comes to getting everybody to a table and finally agreeing, because you're right, I think Democrats and Republicans both see some danger in letting the government shut down. But with Republicans in control, what should they do? What should be priority one when they're back at it?
Yeah, I mean, we need to take a step back. We need to figure out how we get the government open again. It seems like both sides, they're dug in. They don't want to negotiate with each other. It's a really unfortunate situation. History shows us that the party that wants to shut the government down typically is the one blamed, and there's a lot of political blowback. So in this case, it's the Democrats willing to shut down the government. Hopefully, there will be some feet to the fire to reopen the government and couple of days. I don't really see a path forward. It could be a couple weeks. But once the government is open again, they really need to focus on these year-long spending bills. That's the regular appropriations process for how we fund the government. We need to make sure it's obviously bipartisan, and we need to make sure we're spending less next year than we did this year. We're running $2 trillion annual deficits. It's unsustainable and unaffordable. So that really needs to be the focus once we get the government open again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. Just the sole fact that we get to this point, we get to this spring time and time again, and you wonder, will they or won't they? And I think that it paints the idea that government, whether you look at it from the left or the right, is broken. We're going to see where it goes from there. Tommy, I appreciate you joining us tonight from the National Taxpayers Union.
Thank you so much.
And the Final Five is back after this.